Good evening, everybody. It is Monday night. We are in downtown Miami. Tonight is going to be a quick stream, only about an hour. We're going to be talking about the rally day we had on Wall Street. Green across the board. The NASDAQ, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the S&P all green, all positive. We're going to talk about it and more today, as well as the topic of the stream, which is ESG investing. Is it nonsense? Is it important? Well, we're going to talk about it, and we will find out. Dutchman says hello, Tom. What's up, Dutchman? Good to see you. Ken Kramer's here. Santa Monica Rodriguez. Sunshine After Rain, Joey. What's up, Joey? Good to see you. Maya's here. Hope everybody's having a good Monday so far. Savi's here. Says good night, Tom and everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Pretty humid night tonight in Miami. Very, very humid. Hey, Exploration says good evening. Good to see you, Exploration. So let me put my bag away. I hope everybody's having a good one. Hey, Irevis says hello, Tom. How are you? I'm doing very well, Irevis. Ken Kramer says semiconductor sell-off today. Yeah, so Ken, NVIDIA was down a little bit today. All the major semiconductors. But, you know, Ken, one of the things that I noticed today, even though the rally was on a little bit of lower volume than I had expected or would have liked, the one positive thing is the yield curve did recover a little bit. That's number one. And number two, which is a very positive thing, depending on how you look at it in terms of stock market positive, crude oil caught a big bid. And as we all know, the lifeblood of this stock market is crude oil. Mainly because every time crude oil gets bid up, that gives a big boost to the financials in the energy sector, which makes up a big weighting in the S&P 500. So since crude oil is getting a big boost, we are up a couple percent today in crude oil. If you want to check out the crude oil futures contract, that is ticker symbol CL. You can check that out. Hey, Ken Kramer says, think they should recover this week, says Ken. Elizabeth says, hey, Tom, Dade College. I see Lena Sandoval is here. What's up, Lena? Alexander, 3 months. Yes, hey, thank you so much, Alexander. I appreciate you, appreciate the support. Very, very appreciative of your support. William Creech is here. Says, good evening, everyone. Our pal Photos from around New York. What's up, Photos? Good to see you. Hope everyone's well. Hey, Dark OP says hi. What's going on? So I was talking about this last stream, everybody, and this ticker tape here is like one of my favorite things ever. I'm like obsessed with this thing. I wish I had one of these right in my house, right in my home office. Hey, Buy the Book is here. Says, hey, everybody. What's going on, Buy the Book? Good to see you. Obama says, any news on the Evergrande default? So I believe the news that came out this week, or actually over Sunday night during futures trading, was that they're probably going to do a formal default. Evergrande. In my personal opinion, I do not think that it's going to be a contagion event, as many think. I still hold the belief that it will probably stay contained to China, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see. One of the things that's been concerning me that I actually haven't been bringing up on the stream lately is the Chinese corporate credit markets. The Chinese commercial paper markets. These things have been in free fall for probably over the last month now. But I will talk more about that in the newsletter that's coming out in the next couple hours here. You should receive it to your email box. Hey, for the love of God, how are you? Hey, Jeff Adolph is here. What's up, Jeff? This is thoughts on future of gas-powered vehicles in the U.S. Well, I believe all the major vehicle companies like Ford and GM, they gave a promise to the Biden administration that they would shoot for about 25% of all their vehicles to be electric powered by 2025. So I think you'll always probably still have a use case for vehicles powered with fossil fuels, but I think EV seems to be where things are going. Jimmy Anderson says, yo, Tom, been a while since I've been able to kick it with you on the stream. Hope you're well, Jimmy Anderson. Hey, Jimmy, I think there's a Miami Heat game that's actually just getting out of the FTX arena right now, as this guy is about to get hit by a car. Not good. But hope everybody's well. Dark OP, good to see you. Hey, the Obama says LTCM Part 2. I mean, that's what a lot of people are saying. I still hold the view that that's not going to happen, in my view. Jeff, good to see you. Buy the book. Dark OP says, what do you think about Larry Fink? So if you want to read a good book about Larry Fink, actually read the book by Steven Schwartzman. And Steven Schwartzman made the majority of his money in leverage buyout deals back in the day. So he is one of the biggest titans of Wall Street, Steven Schwartzman. And he's actually the sole sponsor of the New York Public Library building, the Steven Schwartzman building in New York City. Jimmy Anderson says, how far are you from where the Heat play? I think it's like 2 blocks away. The FTX arena should be directly in front of us. And I think the game is just letting out now. There's a lot of people getting out of the game, going on the train. Hey, I see Otto here. What's up, Otto? Just hi, Tom. Good evening. Nice to join the stream. Good to see you, Otto. Hope you had a good Monday. Hope everybody had a good start to their week. So I wanted to bring about, it's going to be a short stream anyway tonight, so I wanted to just touch on a topic we haven't touched on in a while. And this is the topic of environmental and social governance. Or ESG is the acronym on Wall Street. And there's a lot of players or a lot of big money managers and a lot of big influences on Wall Street as we are passing the Miami-Dade College that think that by and large ESG is all nonsense and that you shouldn't take it into consideration. Now, the way I view it is it doesn't matter if you think it's nonsense or not. If we look at fund flows or allocation or where capital is moving, there's now over $3.9 trillion in investable assets in ESG funds. So that's significant. $3.9 trillion in investable assets in ESG funds. That's not something to scoff at. So I think it's important to pay. And we will go take a deep dive on the stream about what that's all about. Hey, Andrew Lee says, what's up from New York City? Enjoying the night. What's up, Andrew Lee from Queens? Good to see you. So whether we like ESG or not, I think it's going to force a lot of companies, not only in the United States, but around the world, to sort of conform to this new narrative that you not only need to be environmentally conscious in your business practices, but also in your ethics as well. So when we talk about the social governance part of the business, I believe there already is, but there's going to be requirements and minimums to how many women you have on your board of directors, how many people of color, in terms of diversity and inclusion metrics. And the argument is not whether you think this is the right thing to do or not. That's not what the stream is about, because I think it's pretty split. I think there's people on one side that are saying, you know, we shouldn't have set metrics for how many women should be on boards of directors. We shouldn't have set metrics on how many, people of color should be on board of directors or hold management positions at companies. You should just let the free market take care of it. That's what one side of the argument says. But the other side of the argument says, well, there's been a lot of, let's just say, disparity in these specific segments over the course of the years, maybe not for the best reasons. And I think there is some truth to that. So in order for capital allocation or capital formation, let's just call it money, to flow to your stock. If you want institutional investors to be buying your stock, I think increasingly companies are going to have to conform to this new narrative of environmental and social governance. And I believe companies are actually going to get individually scored based on their ESG policies and practices. Hey, Nicholas, does anyone know of available sales jobs in the tech industry in New York City? So Nicholas, I believe the company Datadog is hiring enterprise account executives. Datadog is a fantastic company, so I would check that out. If you go on LinkedIn, check out Datadog. Good to see you, Andrew Lee. Hey, Obama's here. Says woke equals broke. Yeah, so I think Obama, what you exactly said is what many people on the street are saying, right? They're saying, I think this new narrative is considered woke practices. Now, it doesn't matter if we think that or not. It doesn't matter if I think that that particular practice is a woke practice or not. The point is, it's important, I believe, at this state, due to watching the fund flows, and there was actually just a big piece in the Wall Street Journal on Saturday talking about the new fund creation since 2015, and there's now over 7,000 dedicated mutual funds, not only mutual funds, but ETFs just dedicated to environmental and social governance. So that's significant. Hey, Escape says hello. What's up, Escape? David says you don't just solve with injustice. David Goldstein. Good to see you, David. Hope you're well. Hey, Sarah G says, I can agree with both sides. I would enjoy having both styles represented in the market. Yeah, so Sarah, I tend to be in the middle right with you, but also I would like to add that I believe that just like in any sort of department on Wall Street, at the end of the day, the number one goal of any mutual fund is to grow its AUM, right? And an AUM is an acronym on the street for assets under management. So what I believe is that there's a lot of investment banks and money managers on Wall Street right now that are capitalizing on the ESG sort of trend to capture or grow their AUM. So there's been a lot of marketing on Wall Street to say, hey, invest into our mutual fund, invest into our ETF, because we put environmental and social governance at the forefront. So I think it's about 50-50. I think you're seeing it as a marketing tool. I think you're seeing it for people that just want to be woke. But I also do believe that there are money managers, and especially millennials as individuals, do care about these specific problems, I would say, that happens in the investment business, especially when it comes to the environment. Hey, Sarah G, good to see you. Says hello for sure. Assets can be tapped through ESG because it's somewhat new, says Sarah G. ALG Amore says too many people for a cloudy Monday night. Cheers. What's up, ALG? Hey, Charlie Richardson is here. Says, are those people coming from a basketball game? Yeah, so Charlie, I believe we are headed towards the FTX Arena, and I believe the Miami Heat just came out of a game. I'm not sure who they played. Hey, Carolina Tom says, covered call ETF pay 11%, QYLD. Says Carolina Tom. Good to see you, Carolina Tom. Happy Monday. We are right here at the Port of Miami. So I completely forgot that the Miami Heat was going to have a game tonight, so the traffic is going to be sick coming home. Obama says that's like the NBA could sell more tickets. Yep. Yeah, I mean, Obama, I think you're making some points that a lot of people are making. Hey, I see the Austin Tennis here. It says, are all those people on the streets here to see Tom? I'd say about 20% of them, Austin Tennis, are here to see me. Just kidding. But good to see you, Austin Tennis. Hope things are well in Canada. Sarah G says it makes sense. Free market is great, but definitely need new ideas and new perspectives, and ESG can bring that. Very good perspective. VS is Port of Miami-Dade County's second most important $43 billion annually to the local economy. This is VS. Good to see you, VS. Hope you're well. Hey, Sabrina Fair, how are you? I think I see Horatio Snipes in the chat too. Hey, Debbie says, hi, Tom. Good evening. What's up, Debbie? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. Charlie Richardson, good to see you. Austin Tennis says, hey, Tom. Hope you're having a great night. Seems like a crowded night out there. Indeed it is. The Mighty Bull says, greetings, Tom, and everybody in the room. Wishing you all a great night. Appreciate it. Thank you, the Mighty Bull. But in terms of software sales jobs, I saw somebody ask a question of what software sales jobs or tech sales jobs are available in New York. There's a ton. The easiest thing to do that I would recommend if you're looking for a job in tech sales in New York, pretty much just go to the IBD Investors Business Daily IBD 50 and go down the list and just start applying to all those companies. You'll see CrowdStrike, you'll see Zscaler, Datadog, Splunk, all of these very high growth, high earnings sort of, I would say, not startup companies, but maturing companies is where you want to apply. So Datadog, ticker symbol DDOG, is a company I would recommend working for. Hey, I see Carol H says, hi, Tom. Miami looks happening tonight. What's up, Carol? I believe the Miami Heat game is just coming out. Hey, first name, last name, how are you? Hey, Fernando's here. What's going on, Fernando? Good to see you. Lucas says, ciao bello. What's going on? Marilyn Ringo says, hello from beautiful Murray Hill, New York City. Beautiful neighborhood, Murray Hill. I'll be in Murray Hill very soon, actually, Marilyn. I see Marty Lewis. I see April Benson. How are you, Marty Lewis? Hello, April Benson. Prince Charming, good to see you. Ken Glass. What's up, Ken? The Austin Tennis is Tom. How do you feel about Square? Let's see. How do you feel about Square combining with Cash App Title to form Block? I mean, I think, for me, I think that it's, well, Square has always owned Cash App. But I think it's very interesting to see this trend of big tech companies, number one being Facebook, now changing its name to Meta, M-E-T-A. So I think it's just a marketing tactic in the overarching point, in my opinion. I think the vast majority of it's a marketing tactic. Hey, Great Walk, how are you? Nicholas says, Tom, I just checked Datadog and they said they are looking for someone who has experience in working for an innovative tech company. I don't have this, but I have sales experience. Yeah, so you apply for it anyway. That's the biggest misconception when people are applying for a job, right? So they put those things in there for a reason, to deter people from applying for the job. So I'll give you an example. You know, an enterprise account executive, you're going to be selling into Fortune 500 companies, big companies, right? And you're going to be dealing with multi-million-dollar software sales deals in the multi-millions. So they want somebody who is a closer. They want somebody who can close deals. And if you read the job description, and it says that you need to have extreme experience in software sales, and you're looking at that and you're saying, hey, that's not me, but I have sales experience, so I guess I won't apply for the sales job. Well, that's exactly the type of person they don't want working for the company. A person that takes no for an answer. right? You just pretty much took an objection and you ran away from it, right? So that's what sales is all about. Sales is overcoming those objections. So Nicholas, what I would do is I would apply anyway. And in the interview, they're going to bring that up. They're going to say, hey, Nicholas, thank you for applying for Datadog. We noticed you have extensive sales experience. However, we also noticed, why would we hire you to work at Datadog knowing that you have no experience in selling software? And that's when you need to sell yourself, right? A sales interview is the first sale you have to make to actually get the job. So as a salesperson, Nicholas, you should know that you should overcome that objection, apply for the job anyway, and sell yourself in the interview. That's what I would do. Hey, Photos is here. What's going on? Super Friends in the City. Fernando is here. Fernando, good to see you. Fernando, when are you coming down to Miami? The Austin tennis is, the way I look at it, is apply anyway. The worst that can happen is you don't get an interview, which is the same spot you would be in anyway. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And there's the reason why, I mean, there's a person whose job is to vet these candidates anyway. Make them do their job, right? Don't do their job for them, Nicholas. Hey, Vinny Castellano says, hey, Tom, hope all is well. What's up, Vinny? We are right outside of the FTX Arena. And I believe everybody is lined up down here to watch all the players come out as they go home for the day. Hey, Alejandro says, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday and good afternoon to all. What's up, Alejandro? RJ, what's going on, RJ? Good to see you. Hope you had a great Monday. Nicholas says, thanks, Tom. Great advice. Definitely noted. Yeah, Nicholas, you gotta be, especially if you're going to be dealing in New York, right? You know, you gotta, have some backbone here, and you gotta push and hammer these guys. And, you gotta be stern. I'm not saying don't be cocky and arrogant, but assert yourself and tell them why you think you deserve the job, right? It's all about sales. It's all about persuasion. And you're a smart guy. I've been talking to you a lot on the streams. You seem like a very sharp, very smart guy. So without a doubt, I'm sure you could be very successful at that position, without a doubt. Hey, Daryl says, hey, Tom, it's 20 degrees here in Chicago, Illinois tonight. Wow, 20 degrees, Daryl. And what about any snow? You guys have any snow there? Hey, Alejandro says, can I work abroad right now? I think so. Sarah G says, confidence. Yes. Good to see you, Sarah. Good to see you, Vinny Castellano. Good to see you, Nicholas. Good to see you, Super Friends in the City, the greatest of all time. RJ says, exactamundo. To be successful, you must turn a no into a yes. Look at all the traffic here in downtown Miami. I've always said that there's actually probably more traffic in Miami than there is in New York. Hey, Ron is here. What's up, Ron? Ken Kramer says, Jack Dorsey can spend all his time being woke at Square now. Ooh, Ken Kramer. That's funny. VS's Datadog is an observability service for cloud scale applications. And I think they actually just signed a brand new lease near the Hudson Yards. I think they did. Hey, XOXX Bob says, hi, Tom. What's going on at the arena tonight? Do you know? I believe it's a Miami Heat game. I'm not sure who they were playing, but I do believe it's the Miami Heat. Daryl, good to see you. Says, not yet, but soon. Fabio says, hello from Sao Paulo, Brazil. What's up, everybody from Brazil? Good to see you. Ron, what's up? Ron says, hello, Tom. You could always bring out a crowd. Hope you're well, Ron. RJ says, not like the old days, these high-paid could care less about the fans' autographs. They're prima donnas. Yeah, I couldn't even name one guy on the Miami Heat. But the stadium looks great. Hey, I see Jonathan C. What's up, Jonathan C? Happy Monday, my friend. Uncle Car Guy says they were playing the Grizzlies tonight. Good evening, Uncle Car Guy. Good evening, Jonathan C. Good to see you. And everybody we have joining us right now, British Gray, the one and only British Gray, who is joining us from the one and only Tampa, Florida. Obama's beautiful night. Hope everybody had a productive day today. Jet Life says no one is double parked or hitting each other. Fancy cars in Miami. Hey, I think I see Sunnyside here. Hey, long time no see, Sunnyside. Sunnyside says it's no longer American Airlines Arena. What the hell, and the Heat lost. Yeah, so it's FTX Arena, which is a cryptocurrency company. So it seems to fit the trend with Miami. The mayor of Miami is extremely, I'm going to use the term intoxicated in tech and cryptocurrency. I think he really wants to try to make Miami a big tech city. Let's see if he can succeed. I think he's doing a good job so far, but I think he has a lot of work still left to do. Photos from around New York says we saw a Bugatti the other night. Yeah, we did. So Uncle Car Guy, somebody in the chat was telling us that we saw like the car was like $2 million or something like that. Lisa says Seaspiracy. VS is FTX Arena, formerly known as American Airlines. Hey, Flexstream says the Miami mayor wants to make Miami like New York City, but with freedom. Ooh, Flexstream. That was a good one. Yes, Francis Suarez. Hey, Destructionist says I'm jealous of those people walking around in shorts and t-shirt. It's negative 20 degrees Celsius here, -4 Fahrenheit, too cold. Well, Destructionist, you're more than welcome to come to Miami anytime you want. Uncle Car Guy says, do you have photos? We don't have photos, Uncle Car Guy, but if you want to click on my last stream on the channel, you can see it. Hey, Cubez says, hey Tom, I didn't know the fans can hang out and see the players once they are on their buses and leave. Sunshine After Rain says, I was semi-productive today. Great Walks is the longest day ever. Uncle Car Guy says, did you hear there was a guy that had a gun at Miami Airport? I did not. Hey, Jax. Jax says, hi there. What's up, Jax? Sarah G says, the book. Greeting to yes, Roger Fisher. I think, and honestly, Grant Cardone helped me with that. Plus family. Hey, Dallas is here. Says, hello, good evening. What's up, Dallas? For some reason, the comments on my phone are coming out really blurry. I'm having a hard time reading them. LaFresh Sinatra says, hello from the Bronx, soon to be Florida resident within 60 days. Well, welcome to Florida. I think you're going to like it. I guess depending on what part of Florida you're in. Yeah, Obama says the Craig Wright guy said he invented Bitcoin. He didn't. I can guarantee you that with conclusivity. Lisa Marie says 35 degrees Fahrenheit here in London. That's freezing. Well, I guess 1 degree above freezing. All right, so everybody, to quick recap, the topic of tonight is ESG investing. And a lot of people think it's nonsense. A lot of people think it's BS, but I think there's a lot of validity to it. And I think it's worth noting and worth paying attention to. In the mutual fund industry, as well as the ETF industry, there's now over 7,000 funds that specialize in environmental and social governance. I think the mutual fund industry and ETF industry are also probably, you know, if we look on the other side of the aisle, probably using the ESG acronym as a marketing tactic, because if anybody's ever in the chat has ever worked in the mutual fund industry, I think we actually have a couple people here that have worked on Wall Street in the mutual fund industry in marketing departments. You'll know that the number one goal of a mutual fund is not actually to produce returns for your investors. That's not what it is. It's actually to grow your assets under management so you can then accrue more fee income. Now, I don't think that's right, but that's really what the mutual fund industry is. What they do is they charge sometimes a load fee, a front load and a back end load fee, as well as a management fee. But there's also, ever since Jack Bogle, which is the former CEO and founder of the Vanguard Group, ever since he really came out speaking out against the mutual fund industry, the fees have come down substantially. But still, if you're paying a 2% management fee on all of your money invested in that mutual fund, that's significant. 2% compounded out over an investment lifetime is very, very significant in my opinion. So I believe a lot of this ESG talk is just a lot of marketing to draw assets to the specific investment bank that you're working in. Marilyn Ringle says the people were all fired together over Zoom. See above. Oh, was that what was it called? Yeah, Marilyn, that was, it wasn't Monday.com, it was something else, I forget. Yeah, but they fired about 25% of their staff, which is pretty crazy. I forget the name of the company. Patrick New York says, hey Tom, hello everybody. What's up, Patrick? Good to see you. Patrick New York, we are here at the FTX Arena. And the Miami Heat have just concluded their game. First name, last name says, hi Patrick, it's good to see you. So I'll give you one last look of the arena and then we will head out. Meathead says, hi Tom and hello all. What's up Meathead, good to see you. Sunnyside says, those are the team buses. Memphis superstar Ja Morant will be coming out. Yeah, so I think these are the team buses, like Sunnyside said. So I guess all the players go on the bus and then head out of here. So does anybody know if any of the players, like what if you play for the Miami Heat and you may live in one of these fancy apartment buildings? Can't you just walk home or do you have to take the bus? Q-Biz says the Heat lost to the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. George Lopez says the Washington Generals just arrived to the arena. Uncle Car Guy says I don't see a Bugatti. Can someone tell me the time to rewind for the Bugatti? I think it was about maybe an hour and 20 minutes in on my 2 streams ago. I believe Uncle Car Guy. Hey, I see Benjamin says hello from Southern California. Good to see you. Bottomless Coffee, good to see you. Bottomless Coffee says, I believe the team takes the bus to go to the next city to play. Dallas says, I think you have to take the bus so everybody has their privacy, perhaps. Mike Jones says, home teams leave in their personal cars, visiting teams leave on the buses. What's up, Mike Jones? Good to see you. Photos from around New York says, I can speak regarding the Mets. Some unknown Mets players will take the 7 train to and from Citi Field. Wow. That's kind of cool. Dallas says, I think they have to take the bus so they can have their privacy. Yeah, I could imagine if like you're a big all-star, like let's say if you're LeBron James or something, I guarantee he's not, taking the 7 train or any sort of public transportation wherever he plays, But I understand completely. But it's a beautiful night out here in Miami. It was probably 78 degrees today. It rained really rained like crazy today. But then stopped, which was good. But now it's extremely, extremely humid. Uncle Car Guy says, holy moly, wow, that's unbelievable. So Uncle Car Guy, I'm assuming you found it. Secret tunnel. Interesting. Crazy getting out of here. Hey, NJB says AC all year round in Florida. So NJB, it's a good question. So the property I just bought, I've actually have not run the AC once. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've run the AC for about 2 times. However, during this time of year in southern Florida, at night, it's usually around 68 to 75 degrees. So I've been just leaving the windows open, and the breeze actually cools the house. It's like 76 degrees in my house every night, no AC. Timofiva says, Vark Tech, what's going on? Alyssa Marie says, when my uncle played for Miami, they had to take the bus. Says Lisa Marie, good to see you, Lisa Marie. Meathead says, hey Tom, your opinion on iShares Silver. Let me see what you said. Your opinion on iShares Silver ETF SLV versus buying and shorting and storing silver bullion. Meathead, in my view, if you want to get exposure to the precious metal silver, I would never buy some sort of derivative product, right? So SLV is in of itself a derivative product, and in my opinion, I think something like a commodity or a precious metal, I would want to own the physical thing. So I would go to your local dealer and actually buy physical silver if that's what you so choose to do. In my view, I would never really buy the SLV, but that's just my opinion. Sunnyside says Porsche 4S. Uncle Car Guy, I really have to get the timestamp for you so you could see that. I really want you to see it. Hey, Giovanna's here. What's up, Giovanna? Good to see you. Sunnyside Nathan R. How are you, Nathan? So we'll walk down here. This side of the arena, the FTX arena, there's a very nice park where there's massive yachts that park outside. So we'll have to check that out. But this is the free trolley. So if you look to your left, this is the trolley that'll take you all the way uptown, and it's 100% free. But if you want to take the bus, like the 3 or the S, it's going to be about $2.25. But you can jump on the trolley for free, so it's really easy to get around here. Hey, Alexander says, totally agree. What's up, Alexander? Says, just buy physical silver. Yeah, I mean, if I ever wanted exposure to physical silver or gold, or let's just say gold or silver, me personally, I would buy the actual physical asset because the metals market is very manipulated as it is via the derivative, or the industry terminology, as we like to call it on Wall Street, or they like to call it on Wall Street, is the paper. So JP Morgan, I think, actually just settled a multi-million-dollar fine for manipulating or spoofing the metals market, which we were talking about yesterday on the stream. Nicholas says we should get the Discord started soon. Yeah, so Nicholas, the Discord will be up by Friday. The Discord will absolutely be up by Friday. So anybody interested in that, I'm going to create a Wall Street Skate Bro Discord group chat for networking opportunities for people that want to work in investment banking. Maybe you want to go into mergers and acquisitions, sales and trading, or if you want to work in Silicon Valley as a software engineer, or if you want to be on the sales side in tech sales as an account executive, enterprise account executive. Those are the industries where we can use for networking. QBiz says, Tom, are you guys talking about the black exotic car which was parked in front of the Paramount last night? No, so QBiz, I think 2 days ago, on the stream, we saw a Bugatti outside that Paramount building. I'm not too familiar with cars, but somebody said it was like a $2 million vehicle, which was kind of crazy. Lisa Marie says, what do you think is manipulating the markets now? Everything is dropped. So Lisa, I don't think the market, I think the markets, or the equities markets if you're talking about, I don't think they're manipulated. What I think, and we've been talking about it a lot on the stream, is a lot of these high beta names, right? It's like a zoo out here. It's like a zoo. Look at this, guys. Crazy. Wow. So what I think, a lot of these high... Whew. All right, so I think a lot of these high beta names, right? And beta is just really means it's more volatile than the overall market, right? So let's say the S&P 500 is down 1% on the day. These high beta software stocks will probably be down at least double or triple that. So what we've been seeing is Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell coming on and talking about that he is going to raise interest rates sooner than expected, as well as start to taper sooner than expected. And essentially what tapering means, it means that the Federal Reserve will start to ease up on their buying of assets. And that includes US Treasuries, and that includes mortgage-backed securities. And they do this to provide liquidity to the market, right? So when we talk about printing money, and the big meme on Twitter and on the financial media channels about the Federal Reserve printing money, well, they do that by buying US Treasuries, right? They do that by buying treasuries, and they keep interest rates suppressed by buying bonds. So you may ask, well, what does that mean? Well, when you buy a bond, there's an inverse correlation between the price of the bond and the yield of that specific bond. So let's say a lot of people are buying US 10-year Treasury notes. The price of the bond will go up and the yield of that bond will go down. So they're inversely correlated. So when you have a lot of this talk about the raising of interest rates, the tapering of asset purchases, it spooks the market, especially in very, very high beta, high growth names. Because if we think about the earnings trajectory of a lot of these, I would say more speculative growth names, a lot of their earnings are projected 3 or 4 years out in the future. So when interest rates go up, that guy's flying. So when interest rates go up, the value of these companies' earnings are actually worth less now priced in the future, if that makes sense. So I believe we just went through a little bit of a taper tantrum. If anybody remembers, a couple years ago, the markets did something very, very similar to this, as they used to call it the taper tantrum. But my view still holds that I do think we're going to continue to see a Santa Claus rally into the end of the year, and I would not be surprised if the S&P 500 hits new all-time record highs before the end of the year. I know it's scary. I know there's been a lot of volatility, but I still hold that view because the Federal Reserve is going to continue to buy it all. Hey, Flexstream says, if Russia invades Ukraine, I think the global energy market will be negatively effective, or negatively effective, says Flexstream. Yeah, I think you're right, Flexstream, but I doubt heavily that that'll happen, in my opinion. VS says, I'm still hearing the truck horn. Same here. I think my brain's rattling around in my head a little bit. Hey, Jonathan Richards says, hey, Tom. You have two Jonathans here tonight. Good to see you, Jonathan Richards. Alexander, how are you? Lisa Marie says, yes, the S&P 500 is so much more riskier than it was in the 2000s. I would say the opposite. I would say now the companies, by and large, that make up the S&P are probably a little bit more stable than they were back in the 2000s, especially if we want to talk about stocks within the NASDAQ. The Mighty Bull, good to see you. Lisa Marie. Hey, we have EBITDA here. Says, hey, Tom, hope you had a good start to the week. We did, EBITDA. Hope you had a good one, too. Meathead says, wow, what a noisy mess. Indeed it was. C. Miles says, New York City ain't got nothing on that honking. I know. Crazy. Sunnyside says, liquidity is still out there looking to reposition Wall Street Scapero. You are correct about pushing higher. Yeah, so Sunnyside, and it's interesting because what we've been seeing a lot lately, we'll check out these boats and then we'll walk back to the city because these yachts are pretty cool. What we've been seeing a lot is the major indices, right? If you've been looking at the major indices, you're like, what stock market sell-off? There's no stock market sell-off. The indices are only about maybe 5 to 7% off all-time record highs, right? Nothing to see there, no big deal. But if you look under the hood of the market, I think 60% of all stocks in the NASDAQ are sitting below their 50-day moving average. So there's a lot of carnage out there. There's a lot of red, especially in these very highly speculative, quote unquote, how should I call them? The COVID stocks. Hopefully we don't get demonetized for saying that. But a lot of these stocks that have been bid up into the stratosphere with ridiculous valuations, ridiculous price to earnings, ridiculous price to sales, these things are getting re-rated for a higher interest rate environment. But this just creates opportunities. So good names with good fundamentals, I think, will start to form sound bases and then continue higher. So we just have to keep an eye out on when they do that. Hey, Karina Thompson, good to see you. How are you? George Lopez, good to see you. Karina Thompson says hello. Sarah G says, I think a lot of stocks are undervalued right now. Well, there's always a bull market somewhere. Hey, Edson says, hey, bro, what's going on? What's up, Edson? Good to see you. We're here in downtown Miami. It's been getting dark like so early now, guys. Really, really nuts. Alyssa Marie says, I lost my shirt when we bailed on the housing market, reinvested in an IRA to keep what I had, says Alyssa Marie. Edson, hope you're well. So this big yacht in front of us, I think it's too dark for us to go all the way down there. But I believe this guy is a Swiss billionaire that sold his company to Merck for, I think it was $8.4 billion. Cool on 516 says, what is the process to check fundamentals of a company? So I think the first thing that I like to look for, and that's why, and we haven't really touched on a very systematic process yet here on the channel. But I plan on doing that as we continue on some of these streams. This is my favorite building here in downtown Miami. I believe this is One Museum. EBITDA says, Tom, it looks like you are back looking at my yacht again. I know. EBITDA, you left your lights on in the helicopter. I was going to turn them off for you. But regardless of what anybody says, the most important thing is that fundamentals drive the market over the long term. It's earnings. Earnings do matter. So the easiest way to check a company's fundamentals is if you just go to their investor relations page. A lot of people don't do that. If you go to apple.com/investor relations, it'll have an entire archive of all their financial earnings. And you could actually listen into all of the conference calls. How many people do that? Right? A lot of people in the chat, well, maybe in this chat a lot of people do, but most investors, retail traders and investors, they've probably never even been on an actual earnings conference call. and it's 100% free. And thanks to the SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, these conference calls have to be readily available to everybody, not just the big investment bankers, but to everyone. So if you're an individual investor with only $20 to invest, you could still punch in your email, let's say to apple.com/investorrelations, and they will send you a link to the conference call of their earnings. And you could listen to Tim Cook speak and everything, and they'll disclose all of their financials, their earnings per share, their revenue growth, everything, their return on equity. So to familiarize yourself with the company's earnings, I would just listen in on their earnings calls. Sarah G, how are you? EBITDA says no worries. I did that so my buddy could find it. So many yachts with the chopper lets it stand out a little. I agree. Hey, Black Angel, how are you? Good to see you. Chris Hansen is here. What's up, Chris? George Lopez, how are you? Pretty fly for a white guy. Says B-Series funding or no deal. Car Tires says watch out for the alligators. I will. Dr. Ray's after the storm, how are you? Sarah G. Car Tires says I logged into an earnings conference call and they kicked me off. They said I didn't have any money because I had a blue t-shirt with a hole in the side. Hilarious. Sarah G says, plus what life cycle are they in? Plus, how do they treat their employees, reviews on Glassdoor, etc.? Yes, so Sarah G, I think you're making some really good points. So what Sarah G is saying. So there's actually a really good book that goes into some of the examples that Sarah G was talking about just now. And that book is called Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. And Phil Fisher was the founder of Fisher Investments, a big money manager on Wall Street, still is to this day. I believe his two sons now run the company for Fisher Investments, but Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits is probably top 3 or top 4 in investment books that you have to read. I think I have a link in the description of a link to the free audiobook, so you don't even have to buy anything. You can just listen to the audiobook for free of Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. But in general, what I like to look for is I like to look for a company that deals in a big total addressable market, or the TAM, as they like to call it, the TAM, total addressable market. And above all, is the company profitable? Are they compounding out their growth rate at least 25% per annum? So a 25% compounded annualized growth rate. And are they also doing the same thing with their revenue growth? So I would say earnings growth on an EPS basis. EPS is an acronym for earnings per share. Look at all the traffic here, guys. Check it out. Wow. Sarah G is writing it down now. Love audiobooks. Yeah, so Sarah, if you click the link, I believe the Nightbot just dropped the link. You can check it out for free. Alyssa Marie says, awesome. Thank you on the audiobooks. No problem. Car Tire says, I have not been to Miami yet, but as soon as I find a girlfriend on Tinder, I'm moving there. Jeez. EBITDA says, Tom, I just got Steven Schwartzman's new book in the mail. Have you read it yet? Yes, I have read it. It's a good book. It's a good book. So I believe in one of the first chapters, EBITDA, he talks about how he would go to all of the major institutions, like the schools, like Yale University, and try to get money to manage for their endowment. So I believe one of the first deals they did is Steven Schwartzman was walking and door knocking with Larry Fink, I believe. And it was pouring raining, and the first time they went out on their own, the guy stood them up. And they were sitting just in the rain. It was pouring on them. But it's a great book. I won't give too much of it away. You probably already know the underlying story. But Steven Schwarzman, for a lot of people who don't know, he's probably one of the biggest titans on Wall Street. And he made the majority of his money in leverage buyout deals, or LBOs, as they like to call them. So extremely, extremely wealthy guy, and probably one of the most notable names on Wall Street. And is a big donor to the New York Public Library at the Fifth Avenue building, Steven Schwarzman building. Rivas says there's always events going on in Manhattan. I mean, in Miami. What's up, Rivas? So Rivas, the Miami Heat actually just concluded their game. Ebit does just, could you imagine looking back, knowing Steve and Larry Fink walked and knocked on your door? I know. And you left him out in the rain. I mean, I guess that's how all major success stories start out. Kind of crazy to think about, but true. Israel says New York is the best city. I love it. I would agree with that. Hey, Lady O. What's up, Lady O? Good to see you. Lady O is our good moderator from the Garden State in New Jersey. Sarah G says the library is such a good resource. I agree. Katrina says, Lady, I think it was a basketball game. Yes, so the Miami Heat were playing. Colon says, looks like Orlando after a concert. It will take an hour to get home. I know. So this is actually the number of the bus that I get, the S or the 3. But good to see you, Israel. Hope you're well. Hey, Spencer says, Tom, what's up with this coin shortage going on? What's your take on this? Spencer, could you clarify that question really quick? In regards to what you're referring to? Yeah, Lisa says David Beckham lives in that building. One museum. So I'll give you guys one more look at the Paramount building here. Obama says guy from Shark Tank turned down Elon Musk. And so did Apple. Elon Musk was actually trying to sell Tesla to Apple. But Tim Cook wouldn't even take his meeting. Isn't that crazy? That's true. So Elon Musk wanted a meeting with Tim Cook so bad, and Tim Cook wouldn't even take his meeting. Alexander says, what's the book title that you mentioned? Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. Spencer says, we are short on coins in stores. Coins in stores. Like, are you talking about physical coins as in like the money? I've never carried physical money. I couldn't even tell you how long. I don't even remember the last time I held a physical dollar in my hand, honestly. I thought you were talking about like the shortage of Bitcoin on exchanges, like there was going to be a liquidity crisis, because that is very possible. That's very possible. Lady O says, yeah, billionaire snubbing another billionaire. Kind of crazy. Coolon 516 says, yes, physical coins. I have not heard of that, but I guess it wouldn't affect me because I've never carried physical money in like 5 years. Basically, Biz says Apple does not want to make cars. It's a software company. Israel says, my brother says Miami is very dangerous. Lots of guns. Put some sources in the chat. I'd like to check them out. Sarah G says everything boils down to the US dollar, it seems. Hey, Tech Explorers NYC says they are saying you try to make exact change. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really any value in any of that nonsense anyway, in the paper money. Everything should just be digitized, in my view, which it will over time. Hey, Q-Biz says, I just used the coins for the Garden State Parkway tolls. George Lopez says, I haven't used physical money in quite a while. I just use Apple Pay. That's what I use. Elisa Marie says, I'm headed to bed. Thank you for joining, Alyssa Marie. EBITDA says, Tom, do you ever check the 13F filings? They provide some good insight to what some big managers' funds are holding. Sometimes I do, EBITDA. I do that occasionally, check the 13F. Israel says 2022 is Bitcoin's era. Ooh, we'll see. Everybody, I have my newsletter coming out, the Behind the Street newsletter. Sorry it was delayed, but it is coming out. It's going to be more in-depth than usual. But speaking of Bitcoin, we did have a nice rally off of our 200-day moving average. And we talk about that major moving average a lot. So in my view, I think the bottom is in for Bitcoin. So I think this is also another nice car. Is this, what is this, everybody? Is this a Maserati, I believe? Sarah G says, a lot of people aren't digital yet. Agreed. Andrew Lee says, good night from New York City. Andrew, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Basically Biz, good to see you. Yeah, Sunnyside says the US dollar is the petrol dollar. EBITDA says, Wall Street Skate Bro, what is your thoughts on the big correction in BTC/ETH? Showed good support, but curious to see how high it will go. Yes, that is a Maserati. Yeah, so EBITDA, we were historically extended over our major moving averages, but the main moving average that I look for to identify if any particular asset, it doesn't just have to be Bitcoin in general, a long-term trend indicator is its 200-day moving average. And I was actually watching this price action in real time, and we dumped over, I think it was over $10,000 in the matter of minutes. And the amount of buying that happened right on the 200-day moving average, which was probably mostly algorithmic, was so strong. The amount of volume, it was really, really crazy, thunderous volume as we tested that 200-day moving average price target. And then rallied about $6,000, 6,000 points. So that is a strong rally, and I think the bottom's in. But most importantly, from the price action, the number one thing that I look at when analyzing Bitcoin is the on-chain analysis. On-chain analysis is the most important thing that we could be looking at. And I think that's the beauty of Bitcoin, right? Is it's so transparent. We can see how much Bitcoin people are holding to the exact amount. There's no gray area there. It's the blockchain, it's transparency. So the reason why I use on-chain analysis for my long-term view is because I could see what the largest investors are doing. And what we've seen with the majority of these dips or these corrections in the price of Bitcoin is new investors, right? And we know that they're new, mainly retail traders, inexperienced people. And we can tell that they are new is because of the date their Bitcoin wallets were created. These people are coming in here and trading on margin, which is leverage, which I would never ever recommend, and they are getting wrecked. So usually when we have these massive sell-offs like this, what it does is it washes out all of the people or all of the degenerate gamblers that are using extreme amounts of margin. And when they get margin called, they get liquidated and they lose all of their money overnight. But what we've been seeing from the on-chain analysis is that the people who own billions and multi-millions, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, every time we have a major liquidation event like we just had, they're actually buying more and adding more Bitcoin to their wallets and never selling them. And that's really crazy. I mean, that level of conviction is insane. There's actually a Bitcoin wallet that I've been watching that was created in 2014 that every single... Sorry about that. My client is calling me. I'm going to get hammered for like the next 15 minutes here. But every single month, like clockwork, this guy adds at least $1 million to his stash of Bitcoin, at least. And I'll actually send you guys his Bitcoin address so you could check it for yourself. You could look at all his transactions. Pretty interesting. EBITDA says, Tom, I love having all the retail traders. They help me make even more money and have been amazing with how much they are buying my puts. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Sabrina Fair is here, Basically Biz. What's up, Basically Biz? Hey, Shop by Scott says, coin shortage question, probably regarding the signs at the cash registers saying, due to national coin shortage, we ask you to use exact change. See, I can't even advise on that because I never use physical cash ever. It's come to the point where if a store says, sorry, we're cash only, I have to walk out because I physically do not have any cash. I've never carried cash on me in probably 5 years, no exaggeration. And that's not abnormal. A lot of people think that's abnormal, but if you look at other societies and other countries around the world, like let's say China, for example, in their major cities, everybody uses Alipay, right? Everybody uses digital transactions. Everybody uses digital payments. It's really the United States is, sort of slow to get there. Even in many emerging markets, almost everybody has a smartphone. Hey, Crypto Mafia's thoughts on how Russia/Ukraine narrative will affect the markets. I think that's all, in my opinion, and I'm not that educated in the foreign policy space, and I'll always admit that when I don't really know something like that, but in my view, I think it's a non-issue. I think it's just a news cycle, like anything else. Hey, Gabriel says, I bought some Bitcoin back in 2016 at $360. That's awesome, Gabriel. God bless. Photos from around New York says when a store doesn't accept a credit card, are they just saving money on taxes? Probably. Tony Evans says, I don't use cash either. I use my debit card. I either use a debit card or just Apple Pay. I usually link my debit card to my phone. Hey, Spencer's here. What's up, Spencer? Says the problem with checking is that we have to give change and we have no quarters tonight, Spencer. Gabriel says, also had my office near the Brickell Key. Very cool, Gabe. Crypto Mafia says, any favorite altcoins aside from ETH? I will never purchase any of those sort of alternative coins. I think either all of them are frauds or the vast majority, and all of them will go to zero over time, in my view. And again, that's just my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be right. It just means that's my opinion. But I've seen many cycles, bull and bear cycles, and I know how it ends. So the vast majority of these alternative coins, including Ethereum, will probably go to zero too. But I do have a position in Ethereum, which is one of my more speculative positions. But there's a very high probability that Ethereum will go to zero as well. Yeah, EBITDA, you're right. I have my business Amex card that I just put on my Apple Pay. So I believe that restaurant is the Hard Rock Cafe. Shop by Scott says, when we lived in Seattle a few years back, everything was cutting edge digital. All right, let me sit down here and I'll catch up on some of the comments. Hey, Mario's here. What's up, Mario? Good to see you. Basically, Biz says, I'm hating Moderna CEO right now, internationally throwing options to drive down the stock. Yeah, basically, Biz, I don't invest into any biotech companies, mainly because I'm not smart enough. The only investment exposure I have to biotech is through an index fund. Hey, Running at Altitude says, does the retailer have to pay both Apple and the credit card company when they use Apple Pay? I'm not sure about that, but there probably is a transaction fee that they have to pay. Crypto Mafia says, thoughts on the new jab mandates in New York City? Whew, I don't know if I should comment on that one. We may get, I already have 2 strikes on YouTube. I think the 3 strikes and you're out. But you know what the heck, I'll comment on it anyway. If they take us down, you know, we had a good run. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous mandating 5-year-old kids get the vaccine. And aside from that, I think it's ridiculous to have in order to get something to eat. If you want to eat, if you want to grab a cup of coffee in New York City, you need to show your vaccination card. I think that's ridiculous. You know, I just don't feel comfortable showing my vaccination card to like a 16-year-old barista just so I can sit down and have a cup of coffee with a client. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. Buy the books is agreed, Tom. Q-Biz says, wow, I remember partying on that Miami lady boat a few years back. Tech Explorers NYC, I know. Ireva says, LOL, this is why I love your channel. You're so honest, you say what we're thinking. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm for free speech, and if that means I'm not going to sell out to YouTube. I don't need it. I don't need it. So if anybody, you know, that's why, and look, I get a lot of email in my email box from people who watch the stream that are diehard liberals, and they tell me the same thing. They're like, hey, you know, even though you tend to lean conservative, I appreciate you letting everybody voice their opinion on your channel without any backlash. Because that's, you know, as a person that has worked in tech and the investment business, the number one most important thing to innovation is ideas. And if you don't listen to both sides of the aisle, there's no idea generation. There can be some pretty crazy ideas, some ridiculous ideas, but without the transaction of ideas, there's no idea generation. Gabriel says, EBITDA, read the book. I already have some investments in other businesses. Yeah, Gabriel, that's insane, dude. Buying Bitcoin at $300, dude, jeez. Hey, Brad says, having to show your vaccine card isn't against the HIPAA laws. Yeah, it's not. I just think it's a little bit of semantics and a little bit, I just think it's ridiculous, right? Like, in order to sit down and eat at a restaurant, I need to show, you know, some 16-year-old, 18-year-old kid that I got a vaccine. And this is coming from a person who is fully vaccinated, by the way. I'm not anti-vax. I'm fully vaccinated. I've been fully vaccinated probably longer than the majority of people on the stream. But I'm for individual freedom, and I think that's what makes America great, is individualized freedom. Sabrina Fair, you're awesome. Brad says, I got my 3rd Moderna. Nice, Brad. Good to see you here, Brad. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Lady O, we did show your yacht. Tech Explorers NYC says, on the contrary, I know nobody take this seriously, so I just flash the picture on my Google Photos and let them pretend to read it and be done. Yeah, that's true, Tech Explorers. But Tech Explorers, I will say, not to get too political, whenever you go into sort of the more hipsterish coffee shops where you have like the 19-year-old college students, they play like total Gestapo and they like scrutinize it and make sure your name is spelled correctly. They're crazy, these people. And the only people who do that are the people that are not from New York, that are transplants from like Ohio. These people they're sick, but I'm not gonna go into it. EBITDA says, Tom, Gabriel said he got 80 coins at 360 bucks. Jeez. Yeah, give the man a round of applause for sure, Gabe. Jeez, man. God bless you. God bless, man. Good for you. I'm happy about that. Hey, Faith says, wow, the chat is flying. What's up, Faith? Good to see you. Good to see you, Faith. QBiz says, well, support you, Tom, even if your channel is canceled. Crypto says, speaking of two strikes, why do you think it's been so difficult for competitors to put a dent on YouTube/Alphabet's market share? There's no real functional alternative. Well, I think it's just, I think humans develop habits, right? So it's just like think about just search engine, right? Your search engine. I'm not going to use Bing, right? If anything, if my default browser is Bing, I actually get quite upset. And I go out of my way just to search the same thing and get the same result on Google. So I think it's just humans tend to conform to what they're comfortable with. And I think in terms of the search business, I think Google is pretty much going to be a dominant player and continue to be a dominant player. Yeah, Tech Explorer NYC uses network effect or Metcalfe's law. Hey, Alan, what's up, man? So, Alan, you left a really good comment on the channel about cybersecurity. Do you think that the big tech companies like Microsoft and Amazon are going to start competing with the smaller cybersecurity companies? And that's actually been, I shouldn't say a cause for concern, but yeah, I guess I will say that for quite some time now. And the argument on Wall Street is, well, why should I buy a Zscaler or a CrowdStrike when I know that on the drop of a hat, Microsoft or Apple with their multi-billion-dollar balance sheet could come in and just buy any company they want? And that is true, but I think that it's when you're doing mergers and acquisitions, a lot of the times companies that do M&A activity, you could screw it up pretty badly, right? You know, IBM pretty much destroyed their entire business by doing too many acquisitions. So I think a company like Apple really wants to be protective over their brand and develop things internally. Although Microsoft is integrating and giving free cybersecurity products bundled in with their Office suite now. Hey, Mr. Cold, good to see you. What's up, Mr. Cold? Obama, good to see you. EBITDA says, Tom, that would be a monopolistic / conflict of interest in my opinion. I don't want Google in cybersecurity. So as of right now, Microsoft is bundling some free cybersecurity solutions in with their Office suite. But I think the integration is the most important thing, right? So as long as software can integrate with each other, I think we'll be fine. Mr. Cold says, great to hear from you too, Tom. Phelon Musk says, hi, what's up, Phelon Musk? Good to see you. Sabrina says, I use DuckDuckGo. Google is the devil. I'm not judging, but really. I respect that. Hey, DN says, love the colors and the lights on the buildings. Good to see you, DN. Happy Monday. Black Angel says, Tom, you make me laugh. Appreciate it. Hey, Dante Rose's here. What's up, Dante? Israel says, Tom in Miami starts to speak Spanish. I'm learning. That was actually one of the reasons for moving here. Hey, Brad says, I'll be moving to Miami permanently with my fiance. Awesome, Brad. You're going to love it here. Miami is a super fun place. EBITDA, right on. Sarah G says, cybersecurity is a huge market, and why wouldn't Microsoft use cybersecurity? DN says, what is the building with the blue lights? So this one right here is actually the Freedom Tower right here in downtown Miami. I'll try to cover that light so you can see the Freedom Tower, and then behind that is the Paramount building. Al Amor says, did you drive downtown? I did not. I take the bus. Diane Vance says, good evening all. What's up, Diane? Gabriel says, Cuban building. Sabrina Ferris says, Tom, is it normal in Miami? I guess you have to define normal. But yeah, it's pretty normal. Hey, 48 says, evening, Tom. I'm a bit late tonight, but all good. Good to see you anyway. No problem. So for anybody who is just joining, we have a very short topic of discussion tonight, but I think a very important topic of discussion. We were talking about ESG, and ESG is the new or new-ish acronym on Wall Street that stands for environmental and social governance. And there's a great divide on the street, and I think on Main Street as well. If ESG is just a marketing tactic, is it BS? Does it really matter? And I think both sides of the aisle are making pretty good points. However, there was a very good article in the Wall Street Journal this week that did a deep dive into total assets or money that is flowing into ESG dedicated mutual funds and ETFs or exchange traded funds. And it has now reached over $3.7 trillion in investable assets that have been flowing into ESG specific funds. And I think that once you sort of hit the $2 trillion number, you definitely have to start paying attention to that, because that means money attracts money. And I think especially the millennial investors, the Generation Z, like myself, they tend to care about the environment. They tend to care about social governance, such as, you know, how many women hold C-level executive positions at these companies and things like that. So Wall Street is actually developing ESG scores for these companies based off a plethora of metrics. You know, what is their carbon credit rating? What is their carbon score? How many emissions do they give off? How many women sit on the board of directors? Do they have a female CEO? Do they have a certain amount of people of color working at the organization? What is the diversity like? Are they dealing in oil and gas, or are they dealing in renewables? So I think these are things that we need to pay attention to. And the reason for that is because if Wall Street starts issuing environmental and social governance scores to companies, and companies continuously miss the mark on those scores, well, investable assets will not flow to those companies, and therefore their stock prices will lag the overall market. So I understand that some people may think it's BS, or there's no validity to it, or other people may think it's the most important thing in the world. But I think the reason why I wanted to bring it up tonight in terms of the topic of conversation is because from an investable standpoint alone, it's now almost mandatory to care about it, because if your particular stock that you own has a horrible ESG score, well, then there's going to be very few institutional investors that are going to buy that stock, and you're probably not going to be feeling well at the end of the year when your stock is down. But I'd like to know what you guys think. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you think ESG is BS? Do you think it's important? Do you think there's validity to it? Oh my God, it's a snail. Look at that. Yeah, my attention span's horrible. I apologize, everybody. Yeah, EBITDA says they also might implement a carbon tax as well. That is true. Hey, I see Cosmo Scary here. What's up, Cosmo? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Roly Cannoli says you're blowing smoke. Potentially, yeah. I mean, a lot of people think it's all garbage. A lot of people do. Some people don't. Cosmo, don't say that, man. Hey, Exploration says it's Gary. First name, last name, what's going on? Faith, what's up? Crypto Mafia says all political correctness garbage, all about control, not the environment. It's an authoritarian power flex. Interesting. Yeah, so, and I think exactly what my thesis was, I think what we're seeing, it seems like the chat is pretty much split down the middle about if ESG is good or not. And I'll give you my take on it. My personal take on it is, I think the vast majority of the ESG narrative, I think, is just another tool for Wall Street to market their products. Because at the end of the day, in the mutual fund business, in the ETF business, the manager's job, or the mutual fund manager or the ETF manager, their job is to grow the AUM, the assets under management. That's essentially what their job is. So I think they're using the umbrella of ESG as a marketing tool to grow their AUM. I think that there's very few people on Wall Street that actually are gung-ho and caring about all of these different ideas that, you know, we need to reduce the carbon emissions and all of this stuff. That's sort of what my take is on it. I think it's the majority of it is marketing. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at a lot of these management fees, a lot of these so-called ESG funds, their management fees that they're charging like 2% to manage your money. And they say, oh, we're just going to invest into a lot of ESG stocks. And if you really look at the investable assets in there, the majority of the stocks that they're holding is like Alphabet, Microsoft, and Google. You're better off just buying the S&P 500 index fund. So that's sort of my take on it. Sarah G says marketing is everything, unfortunately. Roly Cannoli says stocks this, invest in snails, your BS. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining Roly Cannoli. Peter Webley says moving to Florida. Obama says carbon tax from UN is unconstitutional. This is Obama. Alan Pickett says investors care about ROI. If you can combine ROI and ESG, that means a lot. I think that's a good perspective. Sabrina Fair says you're calling BS, Tom. Q-Biz says my little daughter would have went bonkers if she's seen that snail. Diane Van says I think you have the right idea, especially about young investors, but don't think there is a clear... the chat's moving too fast. Hold on. But don't think there's a clear solution yet, at least not the one they shared, says Diana Van. Agreed. British Grey, good to see you. Sally, good to see you. Israel says the Florida S, the place choose from Earth. Not sure what that means. Cool On says I just Googled it and there is stock ticker software that you can install on your computer. DN says businesses might be asked to step out of their core function and become a source to solve political and social problems, says DN. Hey, I see Monica here. What's up, Monica? Says hi, Cosmo. Always look at the replay. Dog walk time, but cold for his paws now. Monica is our good pal from Sweden. Always good to see you, Monica, as always. Hope you're well. Sally says hi, Tom. How are you doing? I'm doing really well today. Doing really well. Crypto Mafia says, any thoughts on universal basic income being a part of the reality in the future? So I'm very, very against universal basic income. However, what I am for is a temporary universal basic income for people that are holding jobs currently that are most likely to be displaced by robotics, by artificial intelligence, machine learning. Oh yeah, it did end. Like, I think so, like an hour ago, I think. Yeah. So I think what we should do, especially if you work at a 3PL or logistics company in warehousing, or if you're a truck driver or something like that, I think in order to maintain a functioning society, if we can invest dollars into retraining and retooling our society for a modern sort of tech infrastructure, I think a temporary universal basic income for those specific people would be suffice, but we need to make sure that they are using that money to enroll in different job training programs and things like that. That's sort of my view on it. Sabrina Fair says he believes in basic income, frowny face. No, I don't believe in universal basic income. If you want to just rewind it maybe a couple seconds, I sort of explain my position on it. Hail Mail says, I stopped at red lights more than anybody, but hey, I believe in individual liberty, freedom of choice. Sarah G, good to see you. Emilio J says, alert, citing Karl Marx as their inspirational, the North Pole elves are holding Santa against his will and forcing him to build all the gifts this year. They're burning him with cigarette butts, says Emilio. Very interesting and dystopian take. EBITDA says, the TPG fund I mentioned in my comment way above is a great ESG fund. They have third-party analytic firms to make sure they are hitting carbon metrics, completely diversified upstream and downstream. Very cool. Sabrina Fair says, how do we police the people are doing the right thing? It sounds great in theory. Yeah, well, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a massive wave over the next 20 years. I usually give it that time frame. Usually probably 20 years of massive job displacement in warehouse workers, factory workers, manufacturing specifically, and trucking getting automated away by autonomous vehicles and things like that. And I've seen the progression myself. I've actually been working on some projects. When I used to work at my previous company, one of the departments within my company would partner with Google's Waymo. And I believe that once a sustainable 5G network is actually built out in America, you're going to see autonomous vehicles actually roll out quite quickly. Hey, Video says, hello, Tom. Nice night here in Miami, I see. Hey, Penelope's here. Says, hi, Tom, and everybody just woke up. Good to see you, Penelope. So here we are at the Freedom Tower. Ron says 7 degrees Fahrenheit here in northwestern Illinois, Tom. Video says, yes, maybe the next 5 to 7 years. David Goldstein says, eventually it will all work. Eventually it all will, and work will be a thing of the past. Humans will have to find a new existence beyond modernism. Photos from around New York says, Tom, Waymo is testing out their self-driving cars in Central Park. Very cool. Haven't found one yet, though. So San Antonio is a big hotbed for that. Very big hotbed. Hey, Jason says, actually, Tom, you are quite right. Gene says, Wall Street Skate Bro, good evening, Tom. I hope you're having a great evening. Hope you're riding your skateboard again soon. We will. I just have to get a backpack because I destroyed my other backpack, so it's hard streaming and carrying a suitcase. Obama says Waymo is working with Avis. So I believe my bus is going to come in 5 to 10 minutes. Hey, Video says, I subbed. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate it. Yeah, Rick Wolf says Waymo is all over San Francisco as well. 48 says I was replaced by a robot in my job, says 48. XOXX Bob says, Tom, do you have any opinion on the covered call ETF like QYL? I don't have any opinion on it, but I've been getting asked a ton of questions about it. I would never really buy a derivative of a derivative product, like a derivative, double derivative product, in my opinion. Hey, Dante Rose says safe travels, Tom. Appreciate it. Diane Vance says Waymo is in Arizona as well. Hey, Nicole says, g'day, Tom. So this is your hometown. I was live streaming with you in New York. Very cool, Nicole. So New York is my hometown, but I just recently moved to Miami, Florida, but we will be back in New York very soon. Charlie Richardson says, with all the disruptions taking place, having a diverse skill set is important. Absolutely. That's why I think you should always be retraining and retooling yourself in different STEM fields. Crypto Mafia says, hey man, thank you for your knowledge. Have a safe night, my guy. Appreciate it. But everybody, I will have to call it a night. It is getting late and my bus is about to be here. So I appreciate everybody for joining. I know it was a short stream, but we covered a lot. Thank you once again for joining me. Alan Pickett, I appreciate you joining. Diana Van, Cosmo Scary, Katrina Thompson, Nicole, EBITDA, as always, Crypto Mafia, POVHFR videos, thank you. Ibrahim Azam, Sunshine After Rain, Charlie Richardson, British Grey, Nicole, Dante Rose, 48, Lady Orleans, Sally, Obama, Israel, Diane Van, Faith, and many others. Rick Wolf, thank you, Rick. Obama, Jean, Penelope, 48, Bob, Jason, I appreciate you. Savi, thank you, Savi. Hope you all have a good night. Monica Erickson. If you guys want to sign up for my free newsletter, if you click ! News in the chat, it'll drop a link to my free investment newsletter. It should be up by the end of tomorrow. Andrew H., appreciate you. And if you are new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel where we do financial news streams or financial live streams about 5 days a week. About 5 days a week between New York City and Miami, Florida. Black Angel, I see you. And to the mighty bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. And I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a great Tuesday. Take it easy.